Well, my argument to that extreme is just use PC, use mouse and keyboard. You can't get more complex than keyboard controls. Like that's you've got tons of buttons on a keyboard. What do you have on an Intellivision? You have a number pad, and in a way, it's kind of like it's more confusing because of it. Whereas keyboard, you kind of have an idea as to how it's used if you play PC games. But if you play an Intellivision console after playing any other console, you're left bewildered. Well, everybody knows how to use a PC because you use it for everything, you know what I mean? Whereas with Intellivision, you don't really use that sort of control scheme for everything, you know what I mean? It's not an intuitive control scheme. I mean, keyboard's not easy to get used to, but over time you kind of learn it. And I'm sure that's a thing with Intellivision's controller as well, but there's just more you can do with a keyboard. It's like, for example, Descent Free Space. Like, how many buttons that game uses on a keyboard. You could not play Descent Free Space on a console. It wouldn't work. There's not enough buttons. You have a button for targeting, you have a button for targeting hostiles, you have a button for targeting friendlies, there's a button for targeting subsystems, there's a button for telling your troops where to go and what to do, and this is on top of actually moving your spaceship and shooting with your spaceship and using the thrusters with your spaceship. Like, you need to manage a ton of buttons, and it's crazy. It's probably the most overwhelming game I've played in terms of control schemes. But yeah, like, that's why you don't see many space sims on console, because the control schemes are just crazy. The only game that I can think of that's remotely similar to Free Space on console is Project Sylphid. That's the only game that I can think of that's anything like Free Space on console. There's probably something else, but like, Free Space is just very complex. I mean, I haven't gotten like that far through Free Space, mainly because of how complex it is. And really, the way I look at it is, ideally what you want to do for a game is you want to do as much as possible with what little you have. And the buttons of a controller are a limitation. But you've also got to bear in mind that ergonomics is a thing. Like, you have to be comfortable using a controller, but this also counts for the games as well. You have to be comfortable playing the games. So you have to be comfortable with the controls. If the controls are spread out everywhere, it's not going to be easy to play. And it's like with Painkiller, for example. You've got WASD, you basically use them to move, and then you've got the number keys which are just above them. There's 5 weapons, and you can just about reach like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with your, like, by taking your finger off W and pressing one of them. Now, granted, Battle Out of Hell adds 2 more weapons, which, like, it can be a bit difficult at times to get access to the bolt gun, I'm not gonna lie, but getting access to all the main weapons in the original Painkiller isn't really that difficult. Plus you have the mouse wheel, and that's really all you need to do. Oh, and you also got to remember the spacebar as well, so you have a very comfortable control scheme right there, and that's the reason why it works. But it could theoretically work on a console. The problem is that it wouldn't be comfortable to play on a console because it's not designed for it. The spacebar is more comfortable because you're constantly mashing it all the time to do bunny hopping, and you want that extra movement, whereas constantly mashing X, like, relentlessly, it doesn't feel as nice to do as it does with a spacebar, because there's a lot, like, a spacebar has a lot more, like, when you're pushing a spacebar down, especially if you have a mechanical keyboard, yes, there's a little bit of force to it, but there's like, it takes time to push it down, whereas pressing an A button, there's not really much depth in the actual button in comparison to a keyboard. And that's why I find that Painkiller is easier to play on the mouse and keyboard. Plus, because the mouse you can move around, and it's just easier to move and turn around and stuff with, like, the camera and the aiming with a mouse, because it's just so much easier. For me, at least. Like, I I don't understand how anyone can play Painkiller on a controller. I just don't. Like, that game was clearly designed for keyboard and mouse for that reason. But another game I play with keyboard and mouse, even though I think it already does have controller support, is Mountain Blade, because Mountain Blade, I don't know how that works on controller, but I don't want to know how it works on controller, because I want to press the F1 buttons and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, the number keys, to give orders to my men, on top of actually hacking and slashing. And as a result, I like to have keyboard and mouse for Mountain Blade. Racing games, I use a controller. Although I will say I do like the Wii Remote for playing Need for Speed Carbon. I do like that. That's one thing that playing the PC version of Need for Speed Carbon I'm not as keen on. Even though I don't mind it, I still enjoy it. It's just I miss being able to use the Wii Remote to turn. But yeah, we should get the astral emblem for this. Oh, hang on a minute. Do I have to remember something? Hopefully not. Metal Gear Rising. But does Metal Gear Rising have anything to do with, like, do you order troops in Metal Gear Rising? That's the question I want to know. Well, yeah, racing games aren't complex at all. It's just getting from one end to the other. I mean, it's nice to know the mechanics and have consistent mechanics if you want it to work well. Right, hopefully this time I can get Tinek. That's the next character who's going to join us. Worst controller ever. Well, I'm almost partial to say the PS4 controller, but I'm not going to be that cruel. But sometimes I feel like I need to say that, considering how much of a piece of shit it is, but I don't think it's the worst controller ever. Sega's gone, unfortunately. I mean, if that could be a bad thing for some people, and I can understand how it can be, but for me, it doesn't really matter. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of treat Sega as the underdog. Oh shit! Right, hang on. No, that's not the button. Trying to find the load state. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to change my opinion on it. I mean, I'm not going to say every single game is bad on the Genesis or bad on the Master System, but I'm not going to say that I'm going to be getting one anytime soon. I just don't think it's worth it, because there's no games that have really, like, on that system that really make me want to buy it. That guy has a lot of health. Sega Genesis won in the US? Right, I thought it was the UK that I won in. Well, according to Battlefield, he said that, you know, people, or I think it was Bar, I don't know if it was you, Bar, but someone in your group or something said that in the UK the Genesis was more popular in the UK than it was in the US. Which is kind of ironic, since I live in the UK and don't own a Sega console and never have. And probably never will. I mean, the thing is that later Sega consoles actually started to have some good IPs to them, but at the same time, it's like, I still think one of the issues with the Dreamcast was the controller, based on, like, the fact that it was just too big and just impractical in comparison to the PlayStation 1's controller, in a way, and the PlayStation 2's controller. Like, the PlayStation 2's controller was just more practical for gaming. It was not massive, you know what I mean? Like, in a way, it's the same mistake that the Nintendo 64 made. And I think that's part of the reason why the Dreamcast failed. And the fact that the only RPGs, even though Grandia 2 is one of them, like, it has not many of them, whereas the PS2 had a ton. Well, I will say this though. As much as I'm not a fan of Sega, I will say that the Dreamcast, I would argue the Dreamcast is a better console overall than the Xbox in terms of game library. Like, I can see why people would want to own a Dreamcast over an Xbox, let's put it that way. Like, I can't see why anyone would want to buy an Xbox at all. In a way, Microsoft are the modern day Sega to me. Like, they want to cater to a more mature audience and shit, but at the same time, they don't really have any of the big IPs. Or, let's put it this way, they do have certain IPs, but I'm going to have to be really quick with this guy. And not get paralyzed, which didn't work well. Let's use Dragon Ball and fuck him with it. Stop hiding back there. I didn't want to use that move. Right, there we go. That was tough. Well, yeah, there's that as well. But it's still like a lot of games in general. I mean, PS2 isn't even my favourite console of that generation. My favourite console of that generation is the GameCube. And to me, that's the console that really nailed it. And ultimately, it's because, like I said, the controller on the GameCube is more practical than the Dreamcast controller. At least it's good for something. Like, it's really good for racing games, I would say, is the GameCube controller. And especially considering the A button is massive, you can't miss it. And it's kind of an interesting one because of the way the buttons were laid out, and I think it works really well for certain games. It's like, I can play F-Zero GX better on a GameCube controller than I can on an Xbox 360 controller, for example. Like, 6th gen is my favourite generation, hands down. And the GameCube is definitely my favourite console of that generation. And that's not to say that 4th and 5th generation were bad. I think this, like, as I say, I'm playing a good game in 4th generation right now. But I just think 6th generation was where they really went all in. And they really brought out the best of, like, gaming, really. They had fully 3D graphics, and they were all really smooth 3D graphics. It's like, what more do you want? And then most games were in 60 frames per second as well. So, really, to me, I still consider 6th gen to be the pinnacle of gaming. Right, here we go. Time to actually fight this guy. And his little kind of like thing is that he turns into a werewolf. That's his kind of gimmick or something, I don't know. That's what makes him different from everybody else. And there's not really much you can do at this point. But he's a pretty good character to use in the actual, when you actually have, well, not to use, but to have in the party, when you actually get him in the party. But yeah, I mentioned before, Bio, that you reviewed an anime, and this character is actually based off of that anime. Might not look like it at the moment, but it's more apparent with the design in the PSP version. The anime that it's supposed to be based off, that this character is supposed to be based off, is Ranma. Now, the whole difference is instead of changing genders with a transformation, it changes into a werewolf. That's kind of what it's supposed to be. And in the PSP version, he looks more like Ranma, whereas in this, not so much. But the whole idea is supposed to be that he's supposed to be like Ranma. And I don't really have much MP, so I'm trying to just whack him, and it's not really going well. This is going to be a long fight, but it's going to be a pretty epic one. See if I can go behind him. Okay, that didn't end well. I tried to get behind him, but he still blocked it. This could take a while. Hang on, what items do I have? Right, so sweet pot. Oh, I've got mixed syrup. Oh, I just need a blackberry, really. That's all I need. Well, that was poly time, wasn't it? There we go. That was good timing. And now I'm out of MP again. But yeah, he's supposed to be a Ranma inspiration. One damage killed him. Yeah, that was longer than it normally takes. And for beating him, you get a ice ball. Oh, it's the D rank now, so it wasn't the C rank. But yeah, now I've beaten Tinek, he'll join the party. And I'm going to actually put him in the party because he's pretty good. Jewel set. Hopefully don't get wasted through bad item creation. Speaking of which, not sure what I want to do item creation wise with Tinek. But yeah, this is the reason why I didn't want Thea to join, because I wanted a slot for this guy. I mean, he's not the only character that Tri-Ace came up with that was inspired from an anime, so... I mean, there's Arngrim, who's basically Guts. So, there's that. It's like, there's a bit of anime inspiration in the characters. Some of them, at least. I just kind of think that Tri-Ace are Berserk fans in general. Like, I don't know, like, considering how dark Berserk is supposed to be, you know, Valve Profile certainly has some dark bits in it. That's one thing for sure. And I've always seen that they've taken on, like, inspiration from certain animes, or assumed that they have. But the thing about this character is he has a move that can basically instantly kill any enemy in the game. Well, yeah, the manga as well, yeah. Because wasn't that where it started? As a manga? Because I wouldn't know, but I'm guessing that it did. Yeah, I heard about that rapist horse, and I was like, what the fuck? Why would a horse be a rapist? Doesn't seem like the sort of thing a horse would want to do. So, now that I have this emblem, part of me wants to level up tinek, but that would be a bit boring. Basically where I need to head next is the Purgatorium. Question is, should I do the Purgatorium first? That's the question. Also, I need to know what I need to skill this guy in. But also, let's see, did I level up CS completely? Right, where's his self-taught? Oh, it's that. Right, he could use some more biology, I'm guessing. Just gonna give him a bit more. Now, he doesn't have any SP at all, really. 0 SP, great. But Matix can get some SP, so I'm probably gonna get his Sacred Beast. Oh, that's maxed apparently. Yeah, I can basically get that up, or I can get his health up. I think I'm gonna get his health up, considering what's coming. And effort as well, just a bit of that. Patience, there we go. That should do. What else, isn't it? The only first-person shooters that... This is where it is. Right, hang on a minute, just save state, because I know this is going to get ugly otherwise. So it's basically like Postal then. This is another track that I really like in the game. Right, just got to deal with this black slime, and looks like I can handle it. But I'm just going to be a bit careful here. But yeah, this is a bonus dungeon, and there's 2 bonus dungeons in this game, and the music that plays in both of them, I really like. This is probably one of my favourite dungeon themes. Well, I mean, it's not Valk Profile 2's dungeon themes, but this is one of my favourite dungeon themes in an SNES game right here. Because it's kind of different. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, hopefully you can. But yeah, this is one of my favourites on the SNES, dungeon theme wise. It probably is my favourite dungeon theme on the SNES. Come to think of it. Yeah, the dungeon theme of this area feels really unusual, but it really does. I just like how it gets better the further it goes on. Yes, don't miss him with that move. I love when you hit them that their hats come off. Right, didn't need to do that. Oh, I see. But yeah, there's armor here, which I think is good stuff. Dwarven boots. What's this then? Not necessarily. I don't remember any obscure video game rumors. Hang on. Dwarven boots. Yeah, those are slightly better. Yeah, I really need to find something that's going to really work here. 3% every 3 seconds. Well, he uses MP like crazy, so I'm just going to give it to him. Fuck it. Right. I'm trying to find out if there's any other chests around here, because that's what you're really looking for in this dungeon. Tons of treasures around here. Ooh, there's 4 of these now. This might be pretty bad. Hopefully I don't get interrupted. Again, I get interrupted. Great. Oh god, there's tons of them now. I knew Tinek wouldn't survive. Should I use a resurrect ball on him? I think I should. Right, hang on a minute. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, oh god, Joshua's getting raped by freaking. Yeah, this ain't good. There's too many of them. There's way too many of these things. They've all multiplied now. Yeah, that wasn't going to end well, was it? Like I said, this is a bonus dungeon that's supposed to be done later on, so it's pretty tough. Game man, unknown company. No, I don't really know, to be honest. Ask Biophoenix, he's the one that's more informed on this sort of thing. That was actually pretty nice. I hit him for a lot. I honestly don't know. But as for that Xenosaga trilogy, my main concern about that is that it's going to be Switch exclusive. And it's just like, that's going to be really going to piss me off. Like, I'm pissed off that Nintendo bought out freaking Monolith. I really am pissed off about that. Because now, like, you're going to have to buy a Nintendo console to play on their freaking... And we all know that Nintendo consoles don't go down in price, don't we? Like, that's the thing that bugs me about it. It's like, that's the problem with Monolith Soft. They've sold their soul to Nintendo. And the last thing I need is another console. Really don't need another one. Really, the only time I'll submit to buying the Switch is if there's an F-Zero game on it. But yeah, it does annoy me. And that's probably what's going to happen. It would be a stupid move to just release it on the Switch as well. I mean, there's a lot of people who, like, the series originated on Sony consoles, not on Nintendo consoles. So putting it on the Switch, you know, you're going to alienate a lot of fans. I mean, it's like, I want to play Xenosaga just to try it out. Might not be my cup of tea, but I at least want to give it a try, you know what I mean? But I can't because it's never released over here. Well, I could emulate it, but that's the thing. It's like, I want to wait till the remaster comes out first, because I do want to support the game. It's just, at the end of the day, if Monolith Soft aren't going... Oh, what? Why have you unequipped my weapon? That's weird. Right, I'm gonna equip the plate mail then. No, it does. Well, that's not fun, is it? Should really give him something, some better armor maybe. Hang on. What is Ilya using? Chinese gi. Well, you can equip that. Maybe he can equip the Chinese gi. I don't know. Nope, he can't. In fact, that's the best thing he has. Hang on, was Sandals better? Oh, it had better evade. But yeah, that's a game I do want to play at some point. Right, I'll give CS the ring. What was that? Stun half's dizzy time. Fuck it, I'll give it to him. But yeah, like, it really does bug me. I don't know what that weird plant is there. No, video game company I haven't been talking about, but there's a lot of indie developers, so, you know, there's billions of video game companies out there now that aren't being talked about, so really it's just normal, really. Everyone has a video game company these days. Oh shit, poison. Seriously, poison. Right, go give him some aquaberries. Let's more treasure. Good, that's what I want. Get all the treasure. Hopefully he can equip this. Nope, he can't equip Dwarven Helm. Who can then? You can. Oh, I've already got one for him. Like, why do they always remaster the games that don't need remastering? That's what I don't get. Do we have to run from this fight? I think we do. Yep, we're gonna run. Running does take a while, doesn't it? That went horribly wrong. Hopefully I do have... Hang on, didn't I get that staff for tinek? Try section stuff. Yes, I did. He should be equipped with that immediately. Right, now time to resurrect him. Well, I honestly don't know. I don't look into that sort of thing myself. Hang on. Do I only have... I only have one resurrect bottle, really? That's bad. Joshua's gonna have to heal everybody. Like, those blob things are not easy to deal with. Hang on. I'm gonna just order... You're gonna be swapped with Ilya for the time being, because you're just not high enough level for this. Right, I'm gonna give Ilya her equipment. I mean, usually these days, there's info about all games online that aren't indies. So if there's no game available online, then it's probably indie. Oh yeah, next gen consoles, really? Do we need more consoles? More plastic boxes to have to freaking keep? So that's the last thing we need. Another plastic box to take up space. So I'm just getting sick and tired of consoles. They just give less and take more. That's basically the gaming industry these days. Give less, take more. I mean, it's like, I've been shitting on Sega a lot this stream, but the thing about it is that a lot of people are saying that Sega are one of the best publishers out there now. And to me, that really says a lot about how bad publishers are. If Sega are the best publisher now, then there's something wrong with this industry. Something very wrong with this industry. Like, how the hell can Sega, who, like, the same people who tried to fucking screw people over who uploaded fucking Shining Force and all that shit, how can they be the best publisher? And people are actually saying this. And to be honest, it bothers me because Like, if they're the best publisher, then everybody else really must be shit. But in a way, it doesn't surprise me at all. Why has everybody suddenly gotten unequipped? I don't get it. Right, headgear. Right, bloodworm. These don't look nice. Right. Yeah, we should be able to do this. It's just going to be difficult. I should probably save state in the middle of this. So people are going crazy over the Yakuza games, even you are, Bio, so I mean, it's like, and people are saying that they're making out that they're some of the biggest games out there at this point, and it's just like, and people are saying that they have like brilliant localization and stuff, and I'm like, there must be something wrong with this industry if that's the case, because why, like, how are they, like, I'm actually distracted by the fact that these enemies look like oddish. Like, it just amazes me how Sega can, like, be so praised in this day and age, and yet back in the past it was just like, yeah, it's like they fucked up so much that it'd take a big thing for them to get praise from me. A big thing. And the thing about Yakuza to me, it looks to me the same sort of thing as Sleeping Dogs, and it's like, for me to like looking at like Yakuza, it's just like, it feels like something I've already done before based on what I've looked at, but I don't know. Well, probably, but it seems like I don't get what it has different to offer from Sleeping Dogs. And even then, I don't see it as a game that I would play, I don't know. But people are ragging on about it. It's like, maybe it would be a decent game. I'm not saying it would be a terrible game, perhaps it would be a decent game, but would it really be a game that would hold my attention for a long period of time? I don't know why this... oh. Hang on a minute. Ooh, Ole Halcon. That's going to be very important. Because the thing about it is that I wouldn't be completely opposed to Yakuza. I'm not really going to completely shit on Yakuza at all. But if I was to play the game, then it'd have to really, really blow me away for me to change my opinion on Sega. Like, it really would. Because, like, that's what I'm getting from most people. For most people, it's like the most amazing game, like, of this generation in a lot of ways. And it's just like, well, obviously that not everybody, not the mainstream crowd are talking about. It's what the niche crowd are talking about. It's a big game in the niche gaming community. So, if the niche gaming community are talking about it, then it must be good. But it's just that, you know, Sega returning to form, like, or getting to form as far as I'm concerned, like, I need to see it to believe it, maybe. Like, maybe Yakuza is a game that I should play to see if I can actually like a Sega game. Maybe that's the game that I need to play. I don't know. Maybe that's the game that'll make me take it all back. But at the same time, like, most games this generation, they haven't gotten to the point where I've been absolutely blown away. So it has to be really, really, really good if I'm going to play the game. It has to be. It has to be, like, it has to be on the same quality as 6th gen games like Devil May Cry 3 and F-Zero GX sort of thing. Yeah, maybe not necessarily F-Zero GX, but, you know, like Devil May Cry 3 and, you know, games like that, which, you know, you play that game and it's just like, the game is just so amazing that it just blows you away. Like, for example, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that's another game that I would compare, that I would want it to live up to, if that makes sense. Because that's the game that I did enjoy, that I only played recently, and that was really, like, I was blown away by that game, to some degree. That was a game that was really good. What's this? Ancient scroll. Right, hang on a minute. Where is the blueberries? Because I need them. I mean, not blueberries, blackberries. Do I not have any blackberries? I guess not. Well, yeah, they were 6th gen games, but the question is, have they aged well? Because not all 6th gen games have aged well. Like, Devil May Cry 1 definitely hasn't aged well. That's one thing for certain. Like, beat 'em ups, and that's why I want to get more into them, because I want to see, I mean, in a way, that's kind of why I was interested in Onimusha, even though it's probably not a game for me. But I wanted to see if there was another game released in that time that was actually good. Like, just to compare to Devil May Cry. To see it for myself, but at the same time I don't want to go through the ordeal of doing all the bullshit puzzles that are in that game. But if I'm going to give Sega a chance, that's the game that I give a chance for Sega. Because, to be perfectly honest, like, at the end of the day, I really shouldn't be this fickle about Sega. I really shouldn't be fickle about any gaming company. But it's not like Blizzard, where Blizzard, like, with them, I've had a history playing Blizzard games. And there's been some amazing Blizzard games. Blizzard have disappointed me, but their games were good back in the day, to me. It's just that they're shit now. And whereas this is a company that's done nothing for me in the past. So really, that's the reason why it's been hard for me to play Sega games, because, like, I've given Sega, like, every time that I've played a Sega game, I've noticed it says leet on the time there. Every time I played a Sega game, it's just bit me in the ass, and yeah. So, if I'm going to stop being fickle, then I'm going to have to play one of their games at some point. I am. And I'm probably going to end up playing Yakuza, if anything. But I don't know when I would ever do that. Yeah, I don't get that at all, but I don't watch football at all. So I wouldn't, like, it's different football in America, but it's more like rugby in a way, but, like, even our football, which is soccer over there, I'm just not interested. Kicking a ball into a goal is not that exciting. It just isn't. And people make it out to be like this massive scale thing, this amazing thing, but all they're doing is kicking a ball around I mean, yeah, sure, I'm sure there's people who enjoy the simplicity of that, but it's just not me. I just don't see the point. Like, it's like, oh yeah, this one shooter is like just so amazing, but really, all it comes down to is luck. That's all football comes down to in anything. But there is skill involved, obviously. But once you're at the top and you're competing with everybody else, and this is the same for all sports, even esports. Once you're at the top and you're competing with everyone else, it's not a battle of skill, it's a battle of luck. Because they're just as skilled as you are. It all comes down to who's the luckiest at the end of the day. And I think that's the thing, you see. Because everybody's trained hard. And it's come to the point that everybody's reached the point where they know exactly how to play it. And it just comes down to luck. Like, in a football match, it comes down to, like, when you get the ball, like, where are the other players on the enemy team? Are they right in front of you? Are they blocking your way, or are they letting you shoot? You know what I mean? Ooh, got the astral sword, dwarven sword. But yeah, like, that's my view on Sega. That's the thing. Like, let's put it this way: the fact that I'm even talking about Yakuza really says a lot about how desperate I am to play certain games, isn't it? Because, like, I just can't picture myself playing a Sega game at all. I can't. But at the same time, it's like, you know, really, I should give the company a chance. Even though it's very difficult to give them a chance after all these years. So yeah, we've got some new equipment and shit. Dwarven sword, the astral sword, which is for seers. Petition rematch. Seriously, like, people need to stop. Like, what's done is done. Stop with all this petitions for redoing things. Same goes for freaking petitions for like votes and shit. Like, we want another referendum for shit, like Brexit and shit. And it's just like, just be quiet. You placed your vote. The whole system was done fair and square, and everyone voted out. You didn't vote out, but at the end of the day, just because we are out of Europe doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? Even though we're not out of Europe. But, you know what I mean? People make out that with all these political decisions, it's the end of the world. It's like, even if we did remain in the EU, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Even if the other side won, I wouldn't complain about it. I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I would just say, fair enough. Most people wanted to do that. Let them do that. But people just don't. They refuse to accept it. They just refuse to accept it, and they just keep freaking going. Oh shit. So basically, I can't use that sword. So I'm kind of fucked here. Right, serious, you're gonna have to deal with him. Yeah, Trump wants a wall, like... I mean, the thing about over on your side of things is that, like, I looked at both of the people running for president, and both of them just had, they both looked terrible picks. Like, I couldn't honestly pick between those two. Like, it probably, let's put it this way, I wouldn't want to vote. It would be that point where I wouldn't want to vote. So I'm seriously glad that I'm not in your position, having that responsibility of voting in America for those two. Like, really thankful that I'm not in that position. So yeah, that's one thing. I mean, maybe you do know what you want to vote for, but at the end of the day, it's just like, whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. One thing cannot fuck the entire world, because the way it is that everything's a system, and there's a flaw in every single system. There's a flaw in the current system of things. I think that's pretty obvious. But there's also, if you change the system, there's still going to be flaws. There's no right way to do things. There's always going to be an issue. You can't come up with a way to solve the world's problems. No matter what political stance you have, there's always going to be a problem with the political stance you take. And ultimately, you just got to accept what happens and just say, well, this isn't going to change the way I choose to live. If I want to live the way I want to, I'm going to keep living the way I want to. Now, yeah, sure, there's certain laws out there, like SOPA and shit, that's different. I'm talking about, like, votes that actually... Like, votes that aren't, like, that actually have two different sides and stuff, whereas, really, with, I think, Civi, I don't remember, maybe it isn't... I don't remember, actually. What is it? Cure paralysis, yeah, it is, that's it. Where is cure paralysis? There it is. I wish I bought more of that. Well, that's our healthcare as well. Ours is the same. Our healthcare comes out of our taxes, and our healthcare is worse than ever. Like, it's come to the point that you actually have, like, if someone, like, I have to do this as well now because of where I work. Because if someone comes to me and wants to buy my service, I have to charge them less because they work for the NHS. Now we have to charge less for NHS workers because NHS workers are underpaid, and because of that, which NHS, in case you're wondering, that's our health service. That's what we do. Our taxes go to the NHS, and because the country can't afford, because it keeps, I don't know, like, it's got so much in debt that I can't afford the NHS anymore, and it's just became a clusterfuck to the point that people working in a health service are underpaid and screwed over. And that's affected me. But do I complain about that? Do I whine about the fact that now I have to deal with a different type of customer now that they're not going to give me as much money because so-and-so I have to charge them less? No, I'm not. Because I understand that they have issues that they have to deal with, and as such, they shouldn't have to pay more because they get paid less when I get paid just perfectly adequately. So why should they have to pay the same as me when they're getting paid less by the government? Like, that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, too many people. I shouldn't really equip the Dwarven Sword at all. I think it has Earth Elemental. I think that's what the problem is. But I've got the important shit from this place. Oh, there's another one there. In North Korea, it's illegal to be happy. Well, North Korea is a dictatorship, so it's like, oh shit, I should really run from this. That's why I should run from this. Like, running in this game is not the easiest thing to do. Right. I just need to get out of this dungeon, that's what I need to do. I'm going to save state to make sure I get out of it. Right, I should be able to get out of it from here. There we are.